Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we always love talking about our veterans and giving back, and in this case, tying it into food and spices and rubs and so much more. That's why we're excited to have with us Jo Stalnaker. He's an Air Force veteran, former defense contractor, and owner and pitmaster of Ranch and Rifle. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing good. When you talk about food and supporting veterans, it doesn't get much better than that. So
it's a rough life, I guess, a rough life I'm living.
Well, let's start with a little bit of that backstory. For you as an Air Force veteran, defense contractor, give us a little bit of your experience there and what led you to launch Ranch and Rifle.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Arlington, Tennessee. I enlisted straight out of high school. I couldn't tell you anything about the summer after high school because I was gone. I was in boot camp. Did 10 years overseas. 7 of that was with Air Force Special Operations. A few more of that was with the Department of Defense as a defense contractor. And came home, loved every minute of what I did. I joke all the time. It's the most fun I never want to have again. But the transitional stress from, coming from that lifestyle to, just a normal guy again back in Arlington, Tennessee, Oakland, Tennessee. It was rough. It was really rough, but I kind of found my own form of therapy just in hunting, fishing, and cooking. Cooking specifically was a way to give order to the chaos that was putting my brain back together. And I started this food blog. It was really just for game meat and wild caught fish. I just enjoy cooking, and ended up bringing some buddies along with me because you can't buy fresh game meat. It's illegal or you have to harvest it yourself. It's illegal to buy from other people. So I would just say, hey guys, why don't you come hunt with me? We need more meat. We're going to have this on the food blog. And just come, hunting for free basically is what we were giving them. And I realized that the benefits to the mental health side of this was, I wasn't alone in that. All of my friends that were getting into it, they kind of had the same deal. They might have gone down the rabbit hole of cooking like I did. But yeah, it really started to stick with us. Just being out there, being part of it, and really just being together as a group again. There's a brotherhood in the service that is, it's probably the most important part of the service. You're taken from an individual, you're broken down, and you're molded and shaped into somebody who is comfortable being part of something bigger than yourself. And that's sometimes hard to find on the outside, that mentality. Because truthfully, a lot of the issues that we see nowadays, that across the media, we don't have, as long as we were able to complete the mission, we don't care who you pray to, especially when all hell breaks loose, because we just need somebody coming. Our blood, our sweat's the same color. We just coming home to a very, very divided nation, on top of transitional stress, on top of post-traumatic stress, on just the normal effects of war. I just felt like that brotherhood was missing.
When you look at what you've experienced and the desire to help others, and then the desire to be able to use what you're doing as a vehicle to help other veterans and other organizations that work with veterans and support veterans, it's a powerful opportunity to create some really powerful change. And so let's go ahead and talk about what you do at Ranch and Rifle, because you've got all these amazing spices and rubs, and you've got recipes, and so you've got even merch. And so talk about Ranch and Rifle overall, and then let's tease some of these rubs.
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, Ranch and Rifle originally started as a food blog. Once I realized that I wasn't alone in this, and that I really could be making an impact within my tribe, my veteran community, I was going to figure out a way to make it work. I was going to figure out a way to double down on us, to give us an outlet, and not that I think I could save everybody, but I'm going to sure as heck try to get as many people involved as possible. And what we've done is, we've come up with our own spice rubs and blends. I've been cooking for a long time. I was very fortunate in that my stepdad growing up had the mentality that if it can be cooked, it can be cooked on a grill. So I learned from the best, even though sometimes, it was just more trial and error. But yeah, we ended up coming up with some spice rubs, and that is our vehicle and how we fund taking veterans hunting, fishing, or just opening up that space and coming out and barbecuing with us, kind of rejoining not rejoining, but reestablishing the brotherhood again, sisterhood, just the camaraderie that we're after.
Yeah, rekindling it. So literally
sure.
resparking it. Pick your phrase. But talk about the rubs, because you've got the barbecue rub, you've got the AP, the all-purpose, you've got hot honey rub, you've got a lot of different, the RBJ, so gunpowder. Go ahead and tease us.
Yeah, man. So probably the two best the two best sellers for sure are our gunpowder and our hot honey rub. The gunpowder is just a salt, pepper, garlic blend, a couple little extra things in there to make it a tiny bit tastier. But the big thing is it looks like gunpowder. It's black. We use activated charcoal. And yeah, just kind of once we saw it, once we really finished and fine-tuned the recipe, we were like, it's no way we're not doing this. The other one, hot honey, it was truly, we were sitting there basically out in Colorado in this it's a laboratory essentially is what we were at, and saw they had powderized honey, and with hot honey just being the hot ticket, I was like, hey, I got an idea. Like, this might be crazy. Let's just see. And we played with it for a few hours, and then we started and it just took off. It's phenomenal. When we do competition, we finish our ribs with the hot honey. So yeah, I did make it approachable, because I know when you start making things spicy, you can ruin some people's weekend, and that's not what I'm trying to do. We're just trying to, literally, make something that tastes good, and I think we've nailed it on those two for sure. Our all-purpose is actually inspired. It's more Mediterranean. It's inspired from my business partner, Saul, best man at my wedding. We actually met overseas. Both of us spent a lot of time stationed out in the Mediterranean, and we have yet to find something to cook with that all-purpose that turns out bad. It just kind of blends with anything Greek, anything Italian. We've even been using things like za'atar lately, and it works. Of course, we've got our Memphis style barbecue. Me being from Memphis, the barbecue capital of the world, I had to put my own influence onto that. So a lot of people, if you're in Texas, or if you're from Texas and you're listening to this and you're saying, why is there brown sugar in, like, no one cares about your opinion, go back to gunpowder. But here in Tennessee, in our part of the barbecue world, we like some brown sugar, a little cayenne in there. I've got some ancho chilies for smoke. Just made a really good rub with that I'm super proud of. Something I was playing with while I was stationed overseas, and just kind of trying to do some sort of grilling out there. And then, yeah, we've got a couple other rubs where we really swap out a seasonal one, or we're getting to the point where we're swapping out a seasonal one. Ranch bacon jalapeno was going to be our popper rub, something that we're working on for, venison, duck, dove, like just kind of the hunting aspect. of things. But a new one we're coming out with that we haven't even really talked to anybody about, hadn't posted anything about it yet, but give it to you guys. It's we have a Chipotle soy honey rub that's coming out. It's our first spicy rub. It's not going to hurt you, but your throat's going to feel a little. Your lips are going to tingle, and yeah, that's coming out here in the 2 weeks. Actually, 2 weeks to the day we're launching that. And what's wild is every single one of these rubs I was making in my kitchen 2 years ago. Almost to the day. I was playing around with them, tinkering, gassing up the house. My wife was probably not happy with me. At least the house smelled good, I guess. But as of a month ago, we put in our first 10,000 bottle order. Like, we have received such incredible feedback for what we're doing and such awesome support from the community that, we went from 500 bottles to 10,000 and realistically under a year and a half. And yeah, I'm incredibly humbled and grateful for it, just because I know the good this does for our community, like what I'm able to put back in through this company. Yeah, I'll never get used to this feeling. That's
amazing. But just the growth and, it's the passion, the dedication into the products, but ultimately then the purpose behind the mission, right? And so talk about some of the different organizations you're able to support. You've got Irreverent Warriors, River Deep Foundation, Camp Bullwheel, Accessible Outdoors. Talk about some of the different organizations you're able to support through your efforts.
We actually are support a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. One of the biggest things, obviously, is we like to coordinate and organize these hunting and fishing trips. Hunting's a little bit tougher. Just putting a rifle in someone's hands, a stranger's hands, is a difficult thing to do. But fishing, on fly fishing, things like this, Irreverent Warriors is full of these trips. And we try and donate and dedicate as much time and money as we can to them. Their mission is to end veteran isolation. And I can't think of many other things that are more in line with what we're trying to do as a company. Camp Bullwheel, River Deep Foundation, two phenomenal nonprofits. Talk about going above and beyond. They have these basically these wheelchairs for veterans who are unable to walk for whatever reason. And they're on like tank tracks, and they will just roll you out into a stream with a fly rod, and you'll just sit there and catch trout and salmon on this little motorized tank. And it's one of the coolest things. Like, I'm not saying that, I wish I could ride one. I do, but I kind of do. But yeah, it's some of the coolest things they're doing. And they deserve every bit of attention that we can get them. Because, not only are they doing this for people who have paid an enormous price, but they're not asking for anything. They're just doing it. And I love that. And I'll support anybody and everybody on that. And that's kind of outside of those foundations. That's another thing that we do. We've started getting into in the past 6 months. Small veteran-owned businesses. The final Friday of every month, we do a giant social media blast. We just call it Veteran Supporting Veteran-Owned Businesses. I'm not going to, nothing against Black Rifle. They're awesome, great, whatever. They don't need our help. But things and companies like Sergeant Willie's Beer Bread, a 2-time Purple Heart recipient, former Army sniper who's found, a way to make bread, and that's his passion. Or Old Georgia Pottery is another person that we featured on there. Former jiu-jitsu black belt out of Alaska, former special operations, loves pottery. So we're really just here for the community. Yeah.
Well,
It's
and
kinda-
building community too, supporting community, creating entrepreneurship opportunities. And so carry that into then the website, online. Where can we go to learn more? Where can we go to buy the rubs? So where do we go?
ranchandrifle.com. That's, really our website. Everything is kind of linked to and from there. We have our shop. We have some merch on there as well. A couple of koozies that are like a DD 214 alumni. All the vets will understand that one. But also on social media, you can follow us at Ranch and Rifle on Facebook and on Instagram. Like I said, that's where we do a lot of our posting. This is about as social as I get. I am not the guy who goes and stands in front of the picture or in front of the video camera for marketing. We've got an incredible guy named Greg who does that. My team is phenomenal. And you should totally check out our socials because our guys are freaking hilarious and are killing it right now. Greg, Leanna, Saul, couldn't do this without them for sure.
Well, the website again, ranchandrifle.com. So ranchandrifle.com and then Ranch and Rifle on Facebook and Instagram as well. So Joe, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having us.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.